and you need someone that's a cheerleader to sort of push you over the edge in whatever you do and in whatever role. I think that you have to have those friends that are going to just unequivocally tell you, you're awesome because, and you should do this, because we all, I think, need to psych ourselves up from whether it's, imposter syndrome or we don't have the confidence to go ahead and do it.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Angela Ratliff, who is the U.S. Bank Women's Global Advisor and the Chief Risk Officer Payments. I'm so excited to talk with you, Angela. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, so before we get into any more serious questions, I have to ask the obligatory question. What's your favorite donut?
It's pretty basic. It's the normal glaze, but with like the chocolate icing on top. I don't even know what that's called, but that's a solid, and you have to have milk with it.
Oh, perfect. I love this combination. So it's not just the donut, it's the donut plus
Yes.
the milk.
If I don't have milk, I'm gonna debate if I want the donut. So yeah.
Wow. Basic requirement of the process.
That's my bar.
That's so great. Well, tell us more about yourself. I said just a little bit about you up front, but what should we know about you?
Sure. So I am the global women's advisor here to U.S. Bank Women, which is, I get to work with a fantastic group of leaders across the company to really try to, engage our female workforce. And my day job is actually the Chief Risk Officer for Payment Services here at U.S. Bank. So it's one of our three lines of businesses responsible for all things risk related.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that extra information. Now, obviously, there's a theme to this interview. And for those who haven't seen me do an interview before, I just wanted to reset this for you. So this is a Take the Doughnut interview. And for me, Take the Doughnut is an expression that's basically the same thing as carpe diem. It all comes from this it's a very strange thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table. But that became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunity behind. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. I'll link a video here to share that origin story in full. But for me, this conversation is all about what does it look like, practically speaking, to go after opportunities in life, to go after the things that you want. So, with that in mind, the first question I wanted to ask in that vein, Angela, is how are you with going after goals in your life? What is that process like for you?
I think I ultimately end up doing it, but I probably second guess myself way too often to get there. So, I might talk myself into it, talk myself out of it, and then, call my girlfriends, get a little reinforcement, and I usually end up taking it. Um, but I have to sort of psych myself up for it, as opposed to, I know a lot of people just naturally, they take that donut and they don't think anything of it. So I get there for the most part. But yeah, that's typically how I operate.
Mm. So, in that process, it sounds like you have to sort of involve other people, get some accountability going. What keeps you motivated once you're on your way? Especially if it's a donut that's going to be, going to take more time, a lot more effort, maybe some skill building. When you have those bigger ones that are going to require a lot more effort, what keeps you motivated in that process?
I like problem solving. If I just had to do the same thing every day, I would get bored. And then I have, moved around every couple of years in my career when I, feel like I've conquered something or close to it. So I like the fact that I don't normally know where my day is going to take me. There's true like practical problems that are being solved. Figuring out a real business solution or just problem solving something, and it's gray areas. Again, there's not normally like a right or wrong answer in risk. So I like the fact that we have a point of view, and you get to sort of pitch your case on something. And so, at the end of the day, knowing that because I was here and had this point of view and got us to where we needed to be, it's a better outcome.
Hmm. One of the things that often happens when we go after a goal, especially a big goal, is that challenges come up, obstacles come up. Um, I'm wondering if there's a specific brand of challenge for you that just seems to keep rearing its ugly head no matter what you're working on, no matter what opportunities you're going for. Is there a kind of challenge that's sort of your Achilles heel?
Um, Not really that comes to mind because I probably have done a little bit of everything over the years. So, I've kind of jumped in and dealt with a lot of areas. And, I feel like all the problems are a little bit unique and bespoke and things that, maybe I don't have experience with. So maybe that's the common thread is that it's something I'm learning brand new to try to, get up to speed and then, have that point of view and figure it out.
Hmm. So if we think back historically, now this you could answer this personally or professionally, what would you say is the biggest donut you've ever taken?
So it was kind of by accident,
Mm.
and this is a funny story, and it was sort of my lesson to myself to ask for what you want. So I was rolling off a project at a different company, and the internal recruiter was trying to say, okay, well, here's just other projects coming up that you can sort of work on. And one of the questions was, do you want to relocate here to do this? And I was like, no, if you have something international, let me know though. I'd be interested in that. And they said, actually, I do. Like, do you want to, think about taking the job in London? And I was like, that is interesting. Yes, yes, I think I do. Um, I was actually a week away from getting married, so that had some personal things going on in my life with hi fiance, um, would you like to get back from our honeymoon and move to a foreign country? But that really sort of cemented in my mind. If I hadn't made a joke about it, I never would have even known it was an opportunity. So once I found that out, I was really excited about it. I had studied abroad in college and ended up going for it. Lived over in Europe for 4 years, but it's sort of funny because I mean it was scary to do, but I never would have even known about the opportunity if I hadn't said something. So that really was, I have to. It was always on my bucket list. I'd love to work overseas one day, and no one obviously knew that until I brought it up. So.
What an amazing story. I relate to that in a lot of different ways, but I think just that idea of you just sort of put it out there and see what happens. It
Yeah.
can't be a yes unless you say something is perfectly exemplified by that. Is there a donut that you want to take right now? Something that's in progress for you?
Um, no, I was in the funny thing about me is, I mean, I guess I had on my bucket list, yes, I, might want to work overseas one day, but I didn't have on my 5-year plan even. I thought maybe I'd be older. And I've done a bunch of different things. I went and ran an operations team without a lot of operational background and until the opportunity presented itself, it wasn't on my bingo card for that year. So I like to, and a lot of people are surprised the fact that like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next year or the year after. I'm going to keep kind of doing what I do well and just make sure that, I'm open to other opportunities. But then when it comes up, that's when I'm going to try to, kind of go for it. So I don't really plan ahead a ton in that aspect, which is, I don't know, kind of unique maybe. So nothing exactly on the radar, but if it does, come up, then I might be eating that donut quickly.
Hmm, perfect. So you're keeping your options open whenever you can. I like
Yeah.
that. There may be people who are listening to this now who have a donut that they're trying to take. Maybe they're partway into it and they need some encouragement, or maybe it's just an idea at this point still. Let's sprinkle some encouragement. What would you say to those people who have a donut in mind? They're just not sure what that next step is.
Yeah, and for this one, I kind of have another example as well of when I was, presented with the hey, do you want to come, run an operations team? And I'm like, I'm a risk person. I don't really know a lot about operations. Um, and combine that with the fact that at that point I was very newly pregnant, and like to the point that we hadn't told anyone. And I was thinking to myself, again, like, is now the time to do it? I don't know that I have the background. I will be out on maternity leave. And I really had to say to myself, like, would a man ask that question about, like, oh, I'm going to have a baby, is this going to impact it? And so I try to sort of take myself out of it in the, like, what would someone else say of it? And that's where I do have a couple of trusted friends that I call, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking about this, and you need someone that's a cheerleader to sort of push you over the edge, in whatever you do, and in whatever role. I think that you have to have those friends that are going to just unequivocally tell you, you're awesome because, and you should do this, because we all, I think, need to psych ourselves up from whether it's, imposter syndrome, or we don't have the confidence to go ahead and do it. So, I do try to take myself out of it, and think, like, and like, what would a guy say, or what would someone else in my shoes do, and then bounce that off of, just a small group of friends that I rely on.
I really like that. Having the power of a trusted network can make us so much stronger in our process. So if people want to stay, kind of in touch with what you're up to, or maybe something that US Bank is working on, where can we find you?
Yep. So internally at US Bank, you can always ping me on Teams, or externally, I'm on LinkedIn. Not super active on there, but you can see me from time to time for the occasional event I'm at.
Wonderful. Everybody be sure to check out those resources. And for those of you who are listening in from US Bank, we actually have a Take the Doughnut event coming up on, what is it, Tuesday, June 25th. So that's still to come, and look forward to seeing you all there for a session to talk all about taking the donut. But, in the meantime, if you liked hearing Angela's story here, be sure to like and subscribe on this video, because there's so many inspirational interviews still to come. And Angela, thank you so much for chatting with me, for sharing your thoughts about taking the donut, and for giving us all some practical advice about how to get there.
Great. It's been great chatting with you. Thanks, Melissa.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye, everyone.